Friday night, we've got the Brumbies and the Fijian Drua. New injuries to report on this one. Brumbies, we still haven't found what planet Corey Toole is on after Angus Blythe went after him. But no, he will be out. We're pretty certain will be out this week from concussion.
He will be.
Yeah, so I think you can bet on that. And then next week, the week after, they've got the bye. The Drua coming off a bye, so most players should be fresh, so no new injuries, whatever, and returning. So no one really returning from the Brumbies that we know of, and for the Drua, Frank Lamani coming back from a knee bruise. It would have to be, I don't know if it was cautious or a little serious for them to have pulled him from the last game, which was a home game in Suva.
They said that it happened on Thursday. If it had happened on Tuesday, it would have been out of play.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like he's the type of player that, it'd be hard to tell him he's not playing as well. And otherwise, the captain, Meli Deranelangi, the White Shark, just from some cramps. He kind of cramped up towards the end of the game there and went off the field, but should be back in fine. This one, it's going to be an exciting game down in Canberra. Very different temperature to the last game over in Fiji. I don't know. I mean, I think this is pretty simple, really. It's two teams that have two very different play styles, and this is going to be the Brumbies trying to slow the game down at all costs, set piece, rolling maul, and the Drua will be looking to take every opportunity to speed the game up and searching for some broken play and counterattack. So it'll be just about who. I essentially think it's really in the Brumbies' hands. Can they execute their game plan and enforce that upon the Drua, effectively? And if so, it's going to be very difficult for the Drua to kind of overcome that, without some brilliant individual kind of performances. So how do you see this playing out, Nelson?
Look, I think you're spot on that the Brumbies need to slow it down, and a lot of that's going to come from the back row and maybe the locks as well. Valentini, Scott, Samu all have to work really, really hard. Frost and Neville as well, disrupting that breakdown as much as they can, not letting Lamani get fast ball and get the ball out wide. I think the Brumbies have been a really cohesive unit this year, despite some of their changes, and they're obviously buying into what they're getting told structure-wise and how to play. And I think for me, I'd be really surprised if those, five guys, back five of the forwards, aren't being told to get in and slow everything down as much as they can.
Yeah, agreed. Speaking of, you mentioned Frost and Caden Neville, just another interesting point on them. They have also not yet been rested, had any Wallabies rest, and I think they've played every game. Maybe one game each of them have started from the bench, but otherwise they've started every game so far this season and played, one of them at least has played 80 minutes most games. So I guess unlikely to, they might rest one of them with Darcy Swain back, give him a start this week, but the Brumbies bye is next week, so they could just try and push through. What do you think?
Well, again, they probably have to rest 2 or 3 weeks, probably 2 weeks for each of them, I would think. Maybe at best only one. But with Darcy Swain back fit firing and in the Wallabies squad as well, I'm sure there'll be some desire to give him a bit of an opportunity as well. So I think you'll probably see at least one of them end up on a bench as they kind of rotate through. This is an opportunity, whether we like it or not. The Ndroa are not as strong as some of the other sides, and I think they're going to have to try and rest a couple of players where they get the opportunity. But one of them mass changes, I think, given that they did that in round 5.
Yep, fair enough.
Ben O'Donnell, I think, will go straight in for Corey Toole on the wings. So I think that'll probably be the only other change. And other than that, I think that they'll probably roll out a relatively similar side, given they've just had a rest. On the Ndrua side of things, I know Mick Byrne in an interview in the last week has been talking a lot about managing workload. When he was referring to Deranelangi's cramp, he said that might be a sign that he's fatigued and he needs a break. So there's just a chance, I think, that for the people out there hanging out for some lineups, that we do see a few changes as they manage that. So I don't know who that will necessarily be, but in my head, the ones that come to mind are, Kananavere, Nasilasila, those kind of guys that have been playing week in, week out. Salawa, they're the players that have had such a huge workload so far this year.
Yeah, and I reckon we might see Kanakavata have a run, because I think he's been very impressive in his cameos. I think he's had one start for the season, but yeah, he could certainly be down for a shout. And also, I mean, off there, they had a bye last week, but the week before, in there. Sorry. They had the week before. Mira, I think, had his first start. Villiers there,
Mira. Good.
He looked really, really good. So I expect we'll see some more of him. Speaking of selection and stuff in the Drua, Nels, this is we think we've discussed about this a lot, but God, in their outside backs, it's tough pickings, isn't it? I think in the centres you can only pick two out of Rivovo, Vota, and Mussy. And then your outside backs as well. But I mean, to start with the centres, who are you picking if you're choosing out of those three centres?
Mate, look, to me, I think it seems clear that they're picking two of these guys and bringing one off the bench most weeks. They've shifted Marcy to the wing. I don't think it necessarily clicked. Whether they want to give him another chance there, this is another chance to do that. I think was it Vota had the rest as well. A couple of weeks ago and wasn't in the starting side, but they've been switching around. So if you bring in any of these three off the bench, they're going to be pretty destructive. And I mean, that was a strength for them in the last few weeks when they've actually done it. So I probably would go, a Ravavao on a Marcy and then bring on Vota off the bench because Aroni Sao showed us moments. Robert Tumunda's looked really, really good. Ndroa Sessi's looked positive at other times. So if you want to start those three in the outside backs, I think that's the way you do it. You keep rotating in the centres. But also, Aroni Sao, mate, I'd be happy to drop him and shift Marcy one more time to give him a crack on the wing if they think it's something that they might want to do moving forward.
It's true. As much as I love the sledgehammer, Aroni Sao, and he is in my fan. Actually, he's not in my fantasy team anymore. But I think Ravatamunda's your out and out first pick in those back three every time, whether it's on the wing or fullback. He's been brilliant. And then it's really, it's up to the other two guys to kind of step up. And I think Marcy's been in such form in any position that he's got to be. It's hard to not give him a starting jersey, whether that's at wing or on in the centres. But you're right. It is nice to always be able to bring one of them off the bench. So yeah, Harry, any further points with the Drua?
Yeah, the other one I wanted to talk about was just who's going to partner Nasila at lock. Last game, we saw Threekin Deveta playing in the 5 jersey, and they literally did not carry a reserve lock. They had Mani come off the bench for Threekin Deveta to play in the second row. But obviously, Ratui Salia has been probably the favourite, and Tuafangalele has played a few games as well. They won't necessarily play a lock on the bench. They've shown now already. I'd suggest probably this week against the Brums with the firmer set piece, they might go down that road. But what do? Do they go for the more versatile Ratui Salia, or do they go for the big body of Threekin Deveta to try and counter the weight of the Brumbies scrum and rolling maul?
I just haven't been impressed by Threekin Deveta yet. I think for me, clearly their best locks are Rotusalia and Nasila Silla.
I reckon the game that he impresses you, you'll learn to pronounce his name correctly, Threekin Deveta. So, yeah, look, I think all of us probably think the same. He's a big unit, but we just haven't seen what we expected from him. We had high hopes, didn't we?
No, I did not, mate. You talked him up this year looking that he was fit, and I said he was very average last year, and I've seen nothing to think he's going to be any better.
I kind of more meant before the Ndrua joined the competition when we're looking at the NPC and how good he was there running around in New Zealand. He was phenomenal playing in the back row.
It's true. I think in terms of comparing him from last year to this year, he certainly lost weight, but I think it was all in the form of the haircut. You know what I mean? Definitely lost a kilo or two from that big haircut he had. But yeah. No, all right. Well, tips on this one. Nels, you can go first this time. Oh, actually, did you go first? No,
I went first.
No, Harry went first. Look, I think the Brumbies are just too good, and I think this is going to be a game that the Drua will fight and stay in the game for a while, and maybe it hits that 20-minute mark and the Brumbies score a few tries and break away. So for me, that looks something like 3 tries, and I'll say 21 points.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. That's exactly what I was going to say. So now I'm going to have to go Brumbies by 22. I'll go next. Harry, you can round
outlier. You want to be an outlier, right, mate?
That's always, mate.
Yeah, you're not going to be.
No, damn.
I was thinking bigger, mate. I reckon they're going hard on this one. Let's not forget the Highlanders beat them by 33 points, and the Brumbies are a hell of a lot better than that. The Tars beat them by 29. So I'm going to say by 32 points, the Brumbies will get it done.
Enough.
Huge. Wow. All right. There we go. Yeah, you have little faith. And also, just if you do remember that the Drua put out on Twitter every week, if you there's like a competition, if you tip the exact score, you go in the running, they'll send you out a Fijian Drua jersey. So they do it every week, which has been really I mean, I've only remembered to enter once or twice, and I have probably been nowhere near the score. But there you go. You heard it here first if you didn't already know about that one.
If you haven't heard it before in all the other outlets, you heard it here first.
That's it.
I love it. That's the kind of breaking news you get on this podcast.
This is why everyone tunes in, mate.